In just 47 seconds, $47 million in hidden transfers. Elizabeth Warren didn't walk into that Senate Banking Committee room. She marched in like a prosecutor who had already cracked the case. Her hands gripped a thick manila folder marked confidential. Cameras captured every step. The chamber fell silent. What did Warren reveal about wire transfers that made the FBI director and attorney general completely collapse before Congress? At exactly 10:15 a.m., Warren's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Director Patel, Attorney General Bondi, I need to discuss some concerning financial activities that have come to my attention. Patel shifted uncomfortably, his FBI badge catching the harsh committee lights. Bondi maintained her practiced smile, though her knuckles had already gone white gripping her briefing folder. Senator Warren, Bondi began with rehearsed confidence. We're happy to answer any questions about our department's operations. 4,025 wire transfers, Warren interrupted, her voice steady as granite. Between March and October, totaling exactly $47.33 million. Ring any bells? The room froze. Patel's face drained of color. Bondi's smile evaporated instantly. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Patel started. Warren opened her folder with surgical precision. Cayman National Bank, account number 845-291-5563, registered under Patriot Defense Solutions, LLC, a company that, according to Delaware corporate records, lists both of your home addresses as its registered offices. Gasps rippled through the packed committee room. CNN's cameras zoomed in on Patel's trembling hands. Senator, that's completely. Bondi's voice cracked. Fabricated? Warren's eyebrows arched. Should I read the wire transfer receipts? March 15th, $2 million from Defense Contractors United. March 22nd, $1.8 million from Surveillance Systems Corp. April. This is a setup. Patel slammed his fist on the witness table, his composure finally shattering. We've done nothing but serve this country with honor. Warren didn't flinch. Honor? Is that what you call funneling FBI surveillance contracts through your private shell company? Director Patel, you approved $28 million in contracts to companies that then immediately transferred funds to your Cayman account. The silence stretched for 4 eternal seconds. Even the court stenographer stopped typing. And Attorney General Bondi, Warren continued relentlessly, your department's domestic security division somehow forgot to disclose that it owns 40% of the very companies bidding on these contracts. Bondi's face had gone ashen. Senator, we followed all proper procedures. Proper procedures? Warren's voice rose. You mean like the procedure where your chief of staff's brother owns the bank processing these transfers? Or the procedure where Director Patel's girlfriend's consulting firm received $3.2 million for security assessments that don't exist? Twitter exploded. Warren exposes corruption began trending within minutes. Fox News cut their regular programming. MSNBC dispatched emergency breaking news alerts. Senator Ted Cruz leaned into his microphone. This is clearly a partisan witch hunt designed. Senator Cruz, Warren cut him off. Would you like to explain why your campaign received $180,000 from Patriot Defense Solutions just last month? Cruz's objection died in his throat. Warren continued her devastating presentation. This isn't partisan politics. This is about 2 of our highest law enforcement officials systematically looting federal contracts while pretending to protect national security. She held up a bank statement. October 15th, 2025. The day after Congress approved an additional $200 million for FBI domestic surveillance programs. October 16th. $4.7 million transferred from 3 winning contractors directly to your Cayman account. Patel was now visibly sweating under the lights. Senator, Even if these allegations were true, if, Warren's voice thundered, Director, I have 847 pages of back records, 312 corporate documents, and recorded phone calls. This isn't an allegation, this is a prosecution preview. She turned to Bondi. Attorney General, would you like to explain why your department's Inspector General was transferred to Alaska the day before he planned to audit these very contracts? Bondi's voice was barely a whisper. That decision was made for operational reasons. Operational reasons, Warren repeated slowly. Like the operational reason your department classified the audit report that documented this entire scheme? The same report that mysteriously disappeared from DOJ servers last week? The committee room was electric with tension. Reporters frantically typed updates. C-SPAN's phone lines jammed with callers, demanding immediate action. Warren's surgical precision continued as she reached for another folder. But the corruption doesn't end with offshore accounts. Ladies and gentlemen, her voice carried the authority of someone who had spent decades dissecting financial fraud. Director Patel, are you familiar with something called Operation Silent Shield? Patel's eyes darted to his legal counsel. Sweat had begun forming on his forehead under the harsh committee lights. Senator, I can't discuss classified operations in this setting. It's not classified anymore, Warren interrupted, sliding a declassified document across the table. As of yesterday, the Intelligence Committee voted to release these details. Operation Silent Shield was your personal surveillance program targeting financial journalists, banking investigators, and guess who else? Members of Congress who were asking too many questions about FBI contracting. The chamber erupted. Reporters frantically scribbled notes. Camera flashes illuminated faces frozen in shock throughout the gallery. You used taxpayer-funded surveillance technology, Warren's voice rose above the commotion, to spy on the very people investigating your financial crimes. Senator Chuck Grassley's phone was tapped for 6 months. Congresswoman Katie Porter's financial records were accessed illegally 47 times. Bondi attempted to interject. Senator Warren, these are serious allegations that require evidence? Warren's smile was razor sharp. I have screenshots of FBI database queries, timestamps, IP addresses, your personal login credentials, Attorney General Bondi, accessing files on 12 different senators who serve on oversight committees. She turned to face the cameras directly. The American people need to understand what we're dealing with here. This isn't just about stolen money. These two officials turned our most powerful law enforcement agencies into instruments of political retribution and personal enrichment. Warren pulled out her phone, holding it up for all to see. At 11:47 a.m. today, Director Patel sent a text message to his girlfriend's brother, who, coincidentally, runs a private security firm that received $8.3 million in no-bid FBI contracts. The message read, and I quote, "Warren's getting too close. Activate the insurance policy." The silence was deafening. Even Warren paused, letting the implications sink in. Insurance policy? Senator Ted Cruz leaned forward, his earlier objections forgotten. Indeed, Warren nodded grimly. The insurance policy was a plan to fabricate domestic terrorism charges against congressional oversight staff, including my chief investigator, Sarah Chen, who discovered the Cayman accounts in the first place. Patel's face had gone completely pale. His hands trembled as he reached for his water glass. That text. It was taken out of context. Context? Warren's eyebrows arched dangerously. Should I read the follow-up messages? The ones where you discussed planting evidence in Miss Chen's apartment? Or perhaps the detailed plans to arrest her on fabricated money laundering charges? The committee room had become a pressure cooker. Spectators whispered urgently to each other. Security guards positioned themselves more prominently as tensions escalated. And Attorney General Bondi, Warren turned her attention to the increasingly desperate-looking woman beside Patel. Your role in this conspiracy makes Watergate look like a parking ticket. You authorized illegal wiretaps on federal judges who were considering cases against your shell companies. Bondi's voice cracked as she responded. Senator, these allegations are completely unfounded. Unfounded? Warren reached into her briefcase and produced a thick manila envelope. This contains audio recordings of your phone calls with Cayman National Bank. Would you like me to play the one from October 3rd, where you discussed eliminating the Warren problem permanently? The threat hung in the air like a live wire. Every person in that room understood they were witnessing something unprecedented in American political history. Warren's final blow was surgical. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not looking at simple corruption. We're looking at the systematic weaponization of federal law enforcement for personal profit. While American families struggle with inflation, these two officials have been treating the Justice Department like their personal ATM. She held up one final document. This morning, at 6:30 a.m., both Director Patel and Attorney General Bondi attempted to transfer the remaining $8.2 million from their Cayman accounts to Swiss banks. Thanks to Treasury's cooperation, those transfers have been frozen. Patel's chair scraped loudly as he stood abruptly. I need to consult with my attorney. Sit down, Director, Committee Chairman Sherrod Brown ordered. You're not dismissed. Warren wasn't finished. The American people trusted you with badges, with authority, with the sacred responsibility of equal justice under law. Instead, you turned our institutions into profit centers while investigating your political enemies and protecting your financial partners. Her voice carried the weight of genuine outrage. Director Patel, when you took your oath of office, did you mean any of it? Or was it just theater while you planned to loot the Bureau from day one? Patel's composure finally shattered completely. Senator, I have served this country with distinction. Distinction? Warren's laugh was bitter. You mean like when you used FBI aircraft to fly your girlfriend to Nashville concerts? Those $60 million jets aren't your personal Uber service. Or when you fired veteran agents who refused to participate in your schemes. She turned to address the packed gallery. These aren't partisan attacks. These are documented crimes against the American people. While families choose between groceries and rent, these two were literally stealing millions from programs meant to protect us from terrorism and foreign threats. Warren's final words rang through the chamber like a gavel. Director Patel, Attorney General Bondi, your reign of corruption ends today. She closed her folder with finality. I am recommending immediate criminal referrals to a special prosecutor. Both of you should consider retaining criminal defense attorneys. Within hours, protests erupted outside DOJ headquarters. Former FBI agents issued statements demanding Patel's immediate resignation. Legal threats predicted federal indictments within weeks. The fallout was swift and merciless. By 3 p.m., 3 major news networks had obtained copies of the bank records Warren referenced. By 4 p.m., the hashtag #GPatelBond scandal was trending globally with over 2.3 million mentions. Fox News, which had initially defended both officials, quietly removed their supportive coverage from their website. Former Attorney General Eric Holder released a scathing statement. This represents the darkest chapter in DOJ history. The systematic corruption revealed today demands immediate action from Congress and the courts. Meanwhile, inside the FBI's J. Edgar Hoover building, agents were reportedly gathering in small groups, discussing Warren's revelations in hushed tones. Several field office directors had already contacted the FBI Agents Association, expressing concerns about continuing under Patel's leadership. The financial markets reacted with alarm. Government contractor stocks plummeted as investors realized the scope of the corruption might validate billions in federal contracts. Patriot Defense Solutions, the shell company at the center of the scandal, saw its bank accounts frozen by federal marshals before markets closed. By evening, N47 million scandal dominated every social media platform. Warren's complete takedown had been viewed 23 million times across all networks. Cable news channels ran continuous coverage, with legal analysts calling it the most devastating congressional hearing since Watergate. Late that night, sources inside the White House reported emergency meetings about potential resignations and damage control strategies. Sometimes the strongest weapon isn't a badge or subpoena. It's truth, documented and revealed at exactly the right moment. When leaders who built power on secrecy are undone by evidence, the system works exactly as the founders intended. The next morning, both Patel and Bondi's government security clearances were suspended pending investigation. Congressional subpoenas were already being drafted for dozens of FBI and DOJ officials who may have participated in the conspiracy. Warren had not just exposed corruption, she had potentially saved American democracy from its most dangerous internal threat.